Hello there, travelers, or not. You don't have to travel to listen to Travel Bistro. I'm Pam Barker. Welcome. It's January. It's a long, dull month, but not if you travel, even if it's close to home. Far away's better. Let's talk a little bit about travel. In December, we did a wonderful cruise on a catamaran style vessel. It is not a catamaran, it is that style vessel. It's American Cruise Line. It it's kind of a new thing because this was American Cruise Line is exactly what it sounds like. You cruise in this country, no passport required. Everyone should have a passport though. Highly recommend. Even your children, get them a passport. It's you never know when you want to pick up a kid and go to Paris. So get your passport. But American Cruise Line is unique in that it is strictly in this country. And it's everywhere. They have vessels on the Mississippi. They have them. We have been on so many, and it is unique in that they're small boats. They're small. They don't have a lot of passengers, and so they get up into places that other vessels cannot. So you have these amazing, and that's an overused word, I know, but it's really true, experiences on that. This particular American Cruise Line, we started on the Gulf side in Florida, and we actually took a train over to Tampa, and then they do this wonderful thing where you can get a pre-cruise situation, stay at a really nice hotel. They have a breakfast buffet for their people, and then you pile onto a bus, and that's the end of you taking care of anything. Because really, before you leave the hotel, they have already picked your bags up from your room. You don't even have to put them outside the room, and then they do everything from there on. They literally do everything. They have your room ready. I cannot recommend American Cruise Line highly enough if you are so inclined to be on that sort of boat. They don't have a pool. It's a beautiful vessel, but they have outdoor spaces that are wonderful. But look into it if you're interested, because they go many, many places. But this particular cruise in December, good time to be away, very good time to be away from home is in December. They they took us to the vessel, and we got on, and we went from St. Petersburg, Florida, down all the way down to Key West. I want to talk about everything we did along the way, but I do want to say how much I really do like the cruise line. But when we got to Key West, it was time to do something we hadn't done before, but had wanted to since way back when, shall I say. The first time I saw a seaplane in action, I was very young, and I saw the seaplane landing in St. Thomas, and we had flown in to St. Thomas, regular. By the way, when you fly into St. Thomas, a really short runway, kind of like landing in LaGuardia, where they land and put the brakes on and you lurch forward. But there's a mountain there in St. Thomas. But I saw the seaplane, and it's like, that looks like really fun, but terrifying at the same time. It's a small plane, and everyone knows those are bumpy. If you've ever even ridden in a puddle jumper from one place to another. When we lived in Ohio, we did that. We could hop over from Columbus to New York, have dinner, shop, hang out, and then take the red eye back on a small plane. And the weird thing about that, living in Ohio, we flew from New York to Chicago, which you fly over, You fly over Ohio and then back. But they're very bumpy. And if you are a timid flyer, that may not be your cup of tea. So I always wondered what that would be like. Well, American Cruise Line gave us the opportunity to take a seaplane from Key West over to Dry Tortugas. It's out there, Dry Tortugas. It's way out there, and the only way you can get there is by seaplane or boat. They do have a ferry that goes over. It takes about 2 hours by ferry to get there. Not that long on a plane, on a seaplane, but it still is about 45 to 50 minutes depending on weather. It is a small plane. The one we were on held only 10 people. Gary, Gerry, but pronounced Gary, sat in the co-pilot seat, which was very, very cool. You wear headphones, and you land on the water there at the beach, right, and then the plane pulls up onto the beach a little bit. And it's really not that rough. Somebody said, "Oh, it's really rough." Is it? Well, maybe it was because of where we were. I don't know, but it wasn't. He just set that plane down as smooth as could be on the water, and it was wonderful. Dry Tortugas doesn't have much to do. There's an old fort there. Great for snorkeling and water activities if you so choose to do that. But we got fogged in while we were there, and we couldn't leave. The plane couldn't get back to get us. So we sat there, enjoyed being there for another 2 hours. And then they were able, the fog lifted, and we were able to come back. I'm not sure what they do in the case of not being able to get back over there to get people. The ferry had already, early in the day, said they were not going over. So we had the island, just a few people there. We had 10 people on our plane and a few campers where you can actually camp. But January is a long, boring month, so let's talk about travel in January and things to do in January. But first, let's talk about travel in general. You know, it's a challenge to travel. It really is. And if you are not up for it, maybe it's not for you, but it is worth it. In the end, typically, not always, but mostly it is. One thing that is very difficult for me to enjoy are other people's overstuffed backpacks. Everyone has them, and I have one too that I pack in case I want to have it on an island, take water or whatever in the backpack, sunscreen, so forth. But people have these giant backpacks, and what they do, they wear them in every line, and they're completely oblivious as they spin around, they move, they turn, don't care that they're in your space. They step into your space by having these giant backpacks. It costs money to check bags. So I understand people wearing a lot of clothes, they really layer up. They want to carry only one bag on. And it's a carry-on, and it's enormous. It's a little bit of a thing for me. But speaking of luggage, one thing I've talked about before, I believe on Travel Bistro, is a bag I really want. It's called the Smart Birdy. I've talked about that before. It's classic round hat box style. And if you don't know what that is, look it up. Hat box style luggage. It's round, and I love that style luggage. I have a piece of vintage Samsonite luggage. Can't really use it to travel because, number one, it would get banged up too much. But it doesn't have wheels, and if it doesn't have wheels, it's not going to work for me anymore. But I really want a Smart Birdy, and I keep checking in because you can put a lot of stuff in it. And it's $1,000. And I was very excited to see that Smart Birdy was having a sale. And I thought, now's the time. Now's the time I'm going to be able to get the Smart Birdy. Well, just checked it a minute ago before I started podcasting. Smart Birdy on sale, $7.99. So it doesn't really look like I will be getting a Smart Birdy anytime soon. Rudeness continues to be the thing in 2025. Rudeness in travel, whether you are on a plane, train, or whatever. The train, the Amtrak we took to Tampa and back to West Palm. I love train travel. We both do. We love taking the train to New York, getting a sleeper. They have really upgraded. They've gone back to better dining on Amtrak. Grateful for that. Even when you go on a short trip across the peninsula from West Palm over to Tampa, the food in the club car, just sandwiches, they're excellent. They're very, very good. But one thing that I really did like on Amtrak, the people on it were pretty considerate of each other, and it was jam packed. The train was sold out because it was Christmas time, it was holiday time, and people were traveling in droves. It's the first time ever, and we've been traveling by train here and there for many years. It's the first time ever have we been on a train that was sold out. And even so, people were not speaking on their cell phones, cell phone. They were not even really speaking much on cell phones. They were pretty much using headphones appropriately. Other people on the planet be considerate of them, and they were. But flying and other modes of travel continue to be road rages on. So that's still a deal. People they just can't seem to be nice. I want to talk about dressing up. I take a lot of flack. I do not care. I dress up at night, even just regular night. And when I say dress up, I just put on something nice. And when we have cocktail nights, which a couple, 2-3 times a week, then I really put on the glam. And it's just us. And we have our hors d'oeuvres. And the way things are right now in restaurants and happy hours and so forth, they're not that fun. And the prices have gone through the roof. You don't mind paying it if it's really, really worth it. But sometimes it isn't. So you do it at home. You have the fancy hors d'oeuvres, the fancy cocktails. We use our Waterford. We use our wonderful dishes. And Gary's very, very good being a mixologist. We have good wines, good cocktails. So I still do that at home. But when we travel, I take dressy up clothes, and I don't care if anybody else does it or not on cruises or anywhere else. I'm going to do it. But there's a group on Facebook, if you happen to be on Facebook and you do travel and you like to dress up and share it with people. I'm kind of off of social media right now, but I'm a member of this group called Cruising and Dressing to the Nines. And they want people to show how they dress up on cruises. And it's a trend I would really like to see continue. And some of these people are very concerned about judgment. Other people, what if? I don't care. You can what if me right off the map. Don't really care. If I want to dress up, I'm going to dress up. People are passionate, though, about travel. The other night, during the holidays, the New Year's time, we had people over. We've had a lot of people over. We're having someone over tonight. We had someone over this past weekend. Good friends, enjoying each other's company, and it's wonderful. Food and drink together and great conversation. But people can get passionate about their feelings. I happen to love France. I love Paris. And the whole thing was, for me, if you try, and again, I've spoken about this on Travel Bistro before, but if you try to engage with people appropriately instead of saying this isn't like it is at home in Paris, they don't really care. They don't care how it is in South Florida where I live. You're in their country. Behave accordingly. So I try to engage in the very limited amount of French that I know. And is it right? Is it wrong? But I try. When they say merci to me, I say To vous en prie. That means you're welcome. Am I saying it right? Does it matter? I'm trying to be in their country with their language. And things got really heated. I'm not going to back down. That is something about me. I stick by my convictions. I will go to the mat for my convictions. Worth it or not. Sometimes it isn't, depending on. It's like, okay, off you go now. I won't be chatting with you again. Um, but I wasn't going to let up on the fact with these people that I had not had bad experiences in Paris. I have them right here in North Palm, West Palm, South Florida, many places that you go, because people can be rude everywhere. But it got really where I was kind of they tried to beat me down. It's like, no, it isn't. It was some against me. And I don't know. I said the thing that I always kind of fall back on when people come to this country, Americans are very vocal in a very rude way. You're in our country, speak our language. And yet, I have never been told that. We have never been told that in other countries, whether it's France, Italy, I mean Spain, all the countries we've been in, all over Mexico, all over the West Indies. Not once have I been told, you're in our country now, speak the language. And so I brought that into the conversation. But I think the least you can do when you travel is to find a few little verses to say. Yes, there are apps now where you really kind of don't have to, and they're very helpful. I highly recommend those, by the way. But in Ubers or in restaurants, I would try to say my name, just sweet. But I use Gigi because my other podcast, I'm a Gigi with a certain little girl. I'm a Gigi. So I use that because it sounded more French. I was just being, what? I don't know, having fun with it. But, I would say my name in French. Je suis, I am Gigi. Uh, I don't know why people get so passionate about things that other people feel. If I want to believe that Paris isn't rude to me, why does that bother anybody? I don't know. People get passionate about travel, all sorts of travel. I'd never go on a cruise. Well, okay, no one's asking you to. Or, I love cruising, but I will only go on X. Well, have you been on YZ? Because they're pretty cool and you can't judge them if you haven't been there. I don't know. So I'm on my soapbox on Travel Bistro today. It's that time. There's a moon. The moon situation. I was reading this called Seeing All Kinds of Moods and Reactions to Things, and we can all put it at the feet of the moon. And as we sit in January, we're recovering from whatever you did during the holidays, at the very least. Even if you don't celebrate one thing and another, even if you don't have family, even if you sit at home and fix frozen pizzas and watch your favorite guilty pleasure shows. Still, I think the holidays can be stressful for people. January, a lot of bills come due after the holidays for people. You have to look at your taxes for the prior year. Will you owe tax money? So it can be a whole lot of things. It can be looking forward to travel in the coming year, in this year of 2025. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of stress for people right now in this country. So, I like this quote I found. I think it's kind of good. It's very good, actually. When things feel too overwhelming, remember, one day at a time, one thought at a time, one moment at a time, and one task at a time. So no matter what you're doing, if you're home sitting, being a couch potato, or you're out there traveling, to me, it's my mantra, no matter what. Past is the past. You can't change it. Nothing you can do about it. It's historical. But you can be present. You can be present in the moment for all it's worth, because that's all you got. That's all you got. Travel on, people, or stay in your home with your favorite food and drink, whatever that is for you. But I appreciate you coming to visit with me on the other side of the mic of Travel Bistro. I'm Pam Barker. Please don't forget to visit my other podcast, Gigi in the 561. Gary, my producer. He puts on 20 platforms. They are on our website, northpalmbeachlife.com. They're on Pandora, Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, like I said, 20 platforms, as well as Gigi in the 561. That's my general topic. Pop in there. Sometimes you may not agree with what I have to say at all, and I like that just fine. Let me hear from you on any of my podcasts. Please look my books up on Amazon, Pamela Barker. I have some novels out there. I have a children's book. Go find me out there. Go to our website. Go to our YouTube channel, northpalmbeachlife.com. We have a lot of stuff out there. Gary, Gerry, writes for 3 magazines. Splash Magazine, Aqua Magazine, All Things Cruise, as well as our website. So those keys are always clicking. We're always finding new avenues, new things to do, whether it's right here in West Palm or out there in the world, because that's what we say. That's in our header. NorthPalmBeachLife.com. North Palm Beach Life. And the world. Thanks, world. Be sure to come back and see me at Travel Bistro. I'm Pam Barker.